Hello, how are we? How's everybody doing? Good morning. Welcome, welcome. Who's been here all 3 days? Yes, 2,700 of you. I love that. Well, my name is Josiah. Welcome to the Go West Experience. If it's your first time, you're in for a real treat. The Go West Experience, briefly, is just, it's finding our true West, which is what our ambition is, what it is that excites us every single day when we wake up, and how we can apply that across a multitude of options and choices that we make daily. So the last couple days have been special. Yesterday we focused all on creativity, and before that we celebrated all the women, International Women's Day. We celebrated International Women's Day. We've covered topics like film, music, and technology, and we had a very special conversation last night with Tom Truitt and Who Knew Nashville. Did you guys enjoy that? It was amazing, I know. If you missed any sessions, though, all the content we've packaged up, and you can find it on the Go West LinkedIn page or our Facebook pages. So I highly suggest you go and rewatch those. I want to thank our sponsors right now, Event EQ, Southern Word, Aspire. If y'all are tired, y'all go get some Aspire in the back. It's delicious, and it's good for you, too. Eva. Wonderful partners at EVA, helping bring some talent in, AFR, Quest, and all of you. So thank you for being here. Tonight we're doing an awesome closing party with a band called Magi. Our friends at EVA helped bring those guys in. And today we've got another extraordinary day planned, and we're going to focus on the true West of giving. So we started with International Women's Day, celebrating all the women. Yesterday was all about the creative space, and today it's about the philanthropic, the give back. So giving's always been the hallmark of who we are at Go West, and today we're going to speak with some of the great people and organizations that we partnered with, and it's going to be great. We're really happy you're here, and I'd like to bring out the King Papa himself, our CEO and Chief Creative, David Fischette.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see all of your faces, and welcome to everybody joining us online. Today's a really special day for us here because, as Josiah mentioned, giving and giving back has been a hallmark of Go West for many, many, many years. And when we were planning the Go West experience, we knew we could not plan out the 3 days of the summit without having a day that focused specifically on honoring people and giving back with all of the wonderful things that we've been given. So today, this first hour this morning, I get to host 3 back-to-back conversations. We're gonna, coming up in a few minutes, we're gonna have a fireside chat with Stuart Brown from the Inspire Foundation, who came in from Atlanta just this morning. And then a little bit later on, there'll be a few of us that are gonna sit down and we're gonna talk about an experience we had a couple of years ago with Reverend Mark Thompson when we brought the annual Selma Bridge Crossing Jubilee to a global audience. But first, I am really honored to bring out one of the most special people in my life. When I moved to Nashville 9 years ago, this is a person, one of the very first people that I met, and we have become soulmates and friends, and we have such a deep love and connection. She was previously the CEO and president of the YWCA here in Middle Tennessee, and then she's gone on to create a giving platform called Giveful, and now today she is here with us to talk about what she's doing and the benefits of giving back. So please welcome to the stage, Patricia Shea. Oh, hi, Pat.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Thanks for taking time to come hang out with me today, and
pleasure.
us and all the good people here at Go West and all of our friends.
This is wonderful.
It is wonderful. So Giveful.
Yes.
Talk to me about Giveful. You know, this whole 3 days, right, this Go West experience, we have it, perfect camera angle over Pat's head, find your true West, just right there, a little branding over your head. And so we describe this true West, right? If your true north is your purpose in life, the reason you were put on this planet, the thing you're going to be remembered for long after you're gone. we believe then your true west is your sense of exploration and curiosity and creativity and adventure that helps support you in your journey to your true north. So we're kind of true northwest is what we are here. So talk to me about the fact, this whole concept around the benefits of giving, because we often think about giving as something lovely that we are doing for somebody else, but we're not realizing the gift that it actually is for ourselves. So tell me a little bit about how you thought about that differently and thought about Giveful.
So, fortunately, I have about 25 years in the giving space, philanthropy, nonprofits, raising money. And I had an aha during those years where I've witnessed how giving is really almost better for the giver than the receiver. And it made me start to dig into why we give, how we give, and how can we broaden the definition of philanthropy. So I've just really believed that that adage, those who give receive, is something almost everybody agrees with, but nobody operates under that notion. So how do we reframe giving and make it a strategy, a wellness strategy,
Right.
that embraces that concept? Those who give receive.
So talk to me about the wellness strategy
Yeah.
around giving. What does that mean?
Well, so I can build this whole business case, but first of all, those who give have better health benefits, and there's medical science behind that. They live longer, their blood pressure is better, they sleep better. So almost monthly, you'll see a new research study that talks about those who have a giveful life are just physically, in fact, they're more attracted to other human beings, attractive for other human beings. There's also the mental benefits, the psychological, the emotional benefits. People who are giveful are happier, they're healthier, they have a true north, they know what they're about. And so instead of being me-centered, they're other-centered, which does kind of create a calm spirit. I also think there are religious and spiritual benefits. But what I believe people do today is they misunderstand their giving, and they think it's about the outcome of their action, and I really think it's about their action. It's about giving.
Right, the actual act of doing it. So, I'm going to take you back a few years ago when you joined the team and created Giveful and that platform. Tell us a little bit about what the strategy was around that actual platform and what it did.
So I wanted to democratize philanthropy. And again, everything about philanthropy is wonderful, but there are some real dark sides to it. I lived in the space where we were raising money. It was easy to raise money from wealthy people and foundations, but to get to the everyday person was costly. So it was almost not worth it to me to get $100 from you because it might cost $75 to get it.
Right.
So introducing technology, we wanted to disrupt that. We really wanted to make it something you could do every day for pennies on the dollar, pennies on the hundreds of dollars, actually. So the platform was intended to spread philanthropy, democratize it, get everybody involved in it, and let them get that daily feeling, that daily rush, that they actually did something that made a difference.
That's amazing.
It was fun.
So, the fun thing is when Giveful first started up, they actually rented space right here in this building before we moved our whole headquarters into this building, and tornado came through and wiped out our ability to get to the other building, and then it was a really good timing. But since you sold Giveful,
Yes.
what has been your focus?
So I'm doing some consulting and working with a couple of organizations on creating their foundations. I sit on a foundation board. I do some coaching of nonprofit leaders who have fairly large nonprofits that I think have universal positive impact on our world. And I'm working on being Giveful. I'm working on starting this initiative, elevating this cause, trying to get people to live daily, continuously in a giveful state, being really conscious of all the opportunities,
Right.
and getting fully the benefits of giving.
So is there potentially a book somewhere in the future?
Well, it's interesting. I don't think of myself as an author, but I have a book outline, and it's really me facilitating the wisdom of medical leaders, psychological leaders. I was on the phone yesterday with the Dean of Divinity at Vanderbilt. There's a whole chapter on God and what God says about giving. And regardless of what religion you practice on the face of this earth, your God says those who give receive. Again, that's the same message. We really need people to embrace that and have it be part of what they do to take care of themselves.
It's amazing. So you mentioned earlier that there's a dark side to philanthropy, right? So talk to me about what's wrong with philanthropy today in general.
Yes, the root meaning of philanthropy is caring for humanity. And I worked with a number of philanthropic organizations that funded a lot of great causes. So philanthropy does a lot of good, but what I feel like's happened to it is it's become exclusive. It's for the wealthy, it's tax benefits, it's how do I move this money here and take care of this now so that I'm not paying as much in taxes. And then the process of the money's here from the wealthy, goes through the nonprofit to the poor. Giving is not one-sided like that.
Right.
I frequently felt like the nonprofits were there to entertain those people who wanted to give us money. We were there to make them feel better when I keep saying it's the act of giving that makes you feel better, not the client I drag in front of you, not for you to see the benefits of your gift, but just feel that joy inside. So philanthropy, I think, is exclusive. I think it's not grown at the pace that it needs to grow. Right now, humanity has a whole lot of problems.
Right.
And Mother Earth has a lot of problems. And we as a society, we as a human race, we have the resources we need, but we're holding on to them. We're not unleashing them. And then I also think philanthropy is too focused on money. As you know, giving of talent, giving of time, giving of wisdom, a touch. There's a whole lot of ways you can give and be giveful, and it doesn't have a thing to do with money.
How many charities just in the U.S., right, generally? Because I think you had some stats when you were doing the Giveful platform. How many different charities exist today, 501c3s or 501c6s or?
You know, in Nashville alone, there's probably 2,500. I don't know nationally, and then you've got to include churches and universities and hospitals. So there's a lot. It's a whole system, right?
Right.
It's pretty tremendously large.
So, you know, when you think about getting people to engage with
Yes.
a charity or an organization or a cause, how do you cut through the noise of all the different charities and causes and organizations that are out there?
Get them to engage with themselves first. So I want people to move giving out of their heads. Mm-hmm. When you are giving because it gets you the table in the most prestigious location or your name gets on a building, you are not getting the full power of giving. You are sidestepping, I think, the real tremendous impact. So getting people out of their head first, getting them to move into their heart and to their whole full body. What brings you alive? Now, you may be driving down 440 and see a dog and pull over. I can find a woman in distress anywhere.
Right.
I mean, it's the first thing I see. So knowing what matters to you as a spirit, as a human being, as a full person, and then looking for those giving engagements, you'll find your way through the path of nonprofits. You'll find the leader who you know is going to use your money or your gift of your talent in the best way. But I really think it's first starting with what matters most to you. And my point about being giveful is if you're conscious of what's going on around you, you'll see giving opportunities all day long continuously.
Right.
I was in an airport in San Miguel with my family, taking them on a trip. I had rented a bus to take us from the airport to San Miguel. It's about an hour and a half. And I heard a woman who I could tell was upset, didn't speak Spanish. Her limo cab didn't show up. And there were a lot of guys trying to offer her a ride to San Miguel, and she was quite confused. And I went over and said, "Do you want a ride?" And she said, "Absolutely. Who are you?" And so I told her, and she tried to pay me, and I said, "I got this old van."
Right.
Now, she got out of the van, we hugged. I expect nothing from her.
Right.
But 2 days later, my sister-in-law lost her brother, and I had to deal with American Airlines to reroute her from San Miguel immediately to their hometown. And the woman who managed and dealt with me was so kind. And I think that's the way it goes. I give, I receive, I give, I receive.
It's kind of the whole pay it forward. You're not getting something back necessarily from that person, but you see the virtuous cycle that happens throughout all humanity.
Yes, when you are open to the opportunities to give, you are also open to all the opportunities to receive.
And I love that. It's something as small as just seeing a need. Somebody needs a ride, and we take care of that.
Oh, you are the master at giving. I mean, look at what happened. And I don't know if everybody knows this story, but I went to David. I was trying to launch a campaign where we engaged men to reduce violence against women and girls. And I had a message that was never out there before. And I didn't know what form. In fact, I tried to talk to a group of coaches about engaging men to reduce violence against women and girls. It was a disaster. But I got David, and I got David to consider doing a spoken word cinema for us. And that piece was gorgeous. It spoke our message in a way that I could never have imagined myself. You put it out into the world, and then what happened?
Yeah, it was an amazing story. And I do want to say that we're going to play the video of this piece, and there's a little bit of language at the front of this. So if you have any concerns about that, just stick with us, because the message is right on. But this, when you see this piece, we first did it live at an event for the YWCA here.
Yes.
It was 800 women live in a room at a lunch. And so when you hear this piece start, think about a man standing on stage saying this to a room filled with women, right? And there's a lot of tension at the beginning.
We were brave.
But, we were very brave. But then we actually did a video version of it. We launched it together, and then the UN Women found out about it. We launched it with UN Women, and now we have over 10 million views of this thing on Upworthy and other platforms.
And when you agreed to do it, you were not thinking about any benefit back to you or Go West or Steve or anyone.
Not at all.
He gave freely, and he gave big. I mean, that was an expensive piece
It was.
you created for us so that I could get a message out. So think about that.
Right. So we're going to go ahead and roll this piece. It's called We Are the Lions. It's about 4 minutes. Let's go ahead and watch this.
I don't have a problem with pornography. I mean, I don't get upset when I see sexually exploitive commercials. In fact, those are usually my favorite ones. I mean, I don't know what her ass has to do with my hamburger, but I'm gonna drive through the very next day. I have a problem with violent movies or images or the word bitch. Don't have a problem with jokes about women. In fact, I freely admit there are times where I sit back with my fellas and kick back, talk about some bitch and how I wish I could hit that, talk openly in public places, unconcerned if your kids laugh. I mean, it's just words, just jokes, just dudes talking shit that you never expect's gonna get back. However, I do have a problem with violence and cruelty and rape and abuse. And even if we know it's just me, it's just you. It's just a few harmless chokes between me and my dudes. It still perpetuates a culture where it's easy to confuse the link between the jokes and the bruise, between her getting choked and what's just jokes between dudes. And if there's a connection between the things I don't have a problem with and the things that I do, then perhaps I need to rethink my views on the way we view women and how many views sexually exploitive images get on YouTube. My best friends have beautiful children. And if what I have to do to keep their daughters from getting raped or harassed or abused is choose to accept domestic violence as a man's issue too, then I'll do that. And if their sons grow to be like the men that they see, so it's on me to live like the men I want them to be, then I will do that too. And when they're of a certain age, I will tell them this story I heard when I was young about this village being terrorized by lions. See, every so often, in this village, the villagers would wake to find beds ransacked, bodies torn, and for some odd reason, the bodies were always female. Panicked, the men of the village started sleeping in shifts to make sure at least one man was always watching. Despite that, the lions came. Too worried to sleep now, the mothers crept to the beds of their babies, and there, watching over them, they learned why the victims were never men. Because on random nights, for unknown reasons, as the fog crept in and the moon caught in the branches, the boys and men of the village became the very thing the women they loved feared most. When I was young, I thought that story was about lions. It's not. See, when we are children, the monsters are under the bed. When we are adults, the monsters have moved. They are inside us. They fight us. They climb in bed beside us. And so to stay safe from danger, we raise our girls to believe they must avoid it. And we raise our boys to believe they must become it. And so they do. And then one day, they grow up to discover they are the lions. They are the ones you're watching out for. They are the ones. We ask her, what did you do? When we should ask him, what have you done? But we don't. As if we can't blame him, as if it's her fault for failing to accept that being safe around men, that's not safe to expect. I mean, she got in a cage with a lion. She deserves what she gets. And as men, we have to reject that mindset or the violence won't end. We have to accept most often it starts in the hands and hearts and minds of men. And we are the lions time and again. And if we aren't the lions, we are on their side. Too often standing proudly in defense of the pride, perhaps afraid that if we stand with women against the lion, we will ourselves be devoured. And so, ironically, to prove we aren't cowards, we become cowards. To prove we aren't weak, we become weak. To prove we are still lions, we become sheep, unwilling to do the one thing that must be done. Speak. And our silence chokes as heavy as hands. It stings in every black eye. Where men stand, violence lives or dies. And that is why to call this just a women's issue is a lie. We must be involved. This is a problem that cannot be solved with our silence. If we want to end the violence, we must speak. We must act. 1 in 5 women are raped by men. We must own that fact. 640,000 women and girls are trafficked for sex annually. We must own up to that. 3 women are killed each day by men who say they love them. That fact is ours and ours alone. Domestic violence is ours to own. This is what we must understand. This violence ends where it starts, in the hands and in the hearts and in the minds of men, because we are the lions. Time and again.
What a great piece.
Good piece. Good piece. And the great Steve Connell wrote that. And Steve was with us all day yesterday in studio.
Yes.
And he just walked in and sat in the back of the room. Hello,
Hey,
Steve.
Steve.
Steve, thanks
But
for that
what
great
a
piece.
perfect example of being giveful.
Thank you.
I mean, I was running a nonprofit, trying to take care of people who needed what our nonprofit did. David was so giveful and creative and talented. This went out as a message that a lot of people never heard and went to the UN, like you said. It went around the world. YWs all over our country showed that video. And we raised a lot of money.
Sure. And even outside the YWs,
Yes.
we kept getting calls from organizations around the world asking for the rights to play this. And we ended up doing 3 different videos for the YW, and we have just given all of those videos to the world just to use, right? Because it's such an important message. And
So-
thank you for waking us up to that.
Well, so when you're in your space, and this was my space, and this was obviously your space, when you're in your space, when you're using your gifts, and then you are open to receiving what comes back to you, and it's natural. It's not, it's like breathing. You can't breathe out and not breathe in. You really can't give
Love that.
and not receive, but we do it. I mean, I was walking with someone the other day, and she told me that during COVID, she had to give up her joyful giving because she couldn't afford it. Her income had been reduced, but she still tithed. And I was like, so your tithing is not joyful? But what I wanted her to understand is work on that tithing and make it joyful. Make your tithing connected to who you are. Talk to who, is using that money. Get involved with your giving so that you can get back the benefits that the universe naturally brings to you.
That's awesome.
Well,
It's a great question. So what do you think? What do you think happens for the people that when they're giving isn't grounded in who they are? Right. When you talk about people that are just kind of doing this to get their name on a building or to get the accolades. What do you think that does to them? What are the physical benefits? Or do you think it's
Well, I think it's good to give, but I feel bad for those people because they don't get the full joy of their giving. They don't, it's not a somatic experience. It's not grounded in who they are. And people are often surprised. I've interviewed a lot of women. I did a whole Being Giveful series. I interviewed a lot of women, and they would tell me they started out doing this. Like one woman said that she worked really hard and paid for a STEM curriculum in a high school. And so the high school honored her. And she was very proud because her parents' name was on that curriculum. But after she got off the stage, she was a woman my age, she was a woman of color, and a group of young black girls came up crying and said, "You did that? I can be you, I can be an engineer." That was what she got back.
Right.
And all of a sudden, her name on that curriculum was nowhere near as relevant as the impact she was having on those young girls. And it was unexpected. I'm saying expect it, look for it.
Right.
Embrace it. So when people are giving out of obligation, out of guilt, out of whatever reasons that aren't grounded in their sense of being, I just feel like they miss out on the real joy.
Right.
And I think if we can unleash this concept, if we could get everybody to really live a being giveful life. So when you go to bed at night and you've said your prayers, you've done your yoga, you've walked 3 miles, ask yourself, what did I do to be giveful today? You'll be happier, you'll be healthier, you'll be connected to everybody around you, and the world will be really generous to you as well.
So in our last couple of minutes here, what can people do proactively, right, to go out and find opportunities to be giveful? What do they have to do to open their eyes and see the opportunities in front of them?
So be conscious, stay present, just watch. I swear to you, it will be obvious. You'll be at the grocery store, you'll be putting your groceries in your car, and you'll see an older woman who's struggling with her buggy, and it'll strike you, and you'll go help her. John and I were voting the other day, and we got up to the end of the line. I said, "How's it been? Thank you for your service." And she said, "I wish they had coffee." I was like, oh my gosh, I can do coffee.
Right.
So I went to Starbucks. They gave me the coffee. I brought it back, handed it to the poll worker. She cried, I cried, got in the car, and John's like, "Let's do that again."
Right.
You'll see the opportunities, I promise you. But they are the ones that will resonate with you, whether you're a dog lover or a child lover. And like I said, I know and see women in distress everywhere. It's just who I am and what I believe in. So be aware, be open, be looking for those opportunities, and then also recognize when the world works in your favor. When I hung up from that American Airlines woman who got my sister-in-law and her husband, my brother, home, the last thing I said to her is, "I hope the world is as kind to you today as you've been to me."
Wow.
It's so natural.
So you see why she's one of my favorite people in the world, right? I'm so grateful for you.
I love
Thank you.
you.
I love you too, and thank you for spending your morning with us.
Oh,
I know you had other meetings and you forewent them to be here with us. So we really, really appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Pat Shea.
Thank you.